So, okay. I'm going to go back here because I saw you.
Yeah,
Hi, in the green. I'm sorry. Oh, see, that's why I need you to do it.
All right. So
Okay.
John and then.
Okay. John, you're in the green color green.
Okay.
First of all, I really want to say that the issue of semantics and of political movement is so important, and I'm so grateful that you're addressing this issue so explicitly. Secondly, I'm very involved with the increasing civic community among the community. And the African American community has a long tradition of both Christian background and also African American Muslim community. And I'm really curious in your book research and all the work, and what extent you think that there's challenges that are different, maybe in the Muslim, African American cultural community versus Christian background.
Let me do a little dance and point the finger at every one of us. Here is what the humanist movement has done. Poorly. Woefully poorly. In both the Islamic, Muslim, and Christian communities, the idea of service and the idea of charity are religious tenets, and they're supposed to be. However. And we seculars have done very well in talking, be logical, be scientific. I'm guilty. I love science. You know, from Mr. Rivers to Matt. Be logical, be scientific. And these communities may say, well, you haven't talked about anything for your community. You haven't talked about anything to make the world a better place. Not so much humanists as skeptics and atheists and agnostics. But when you go forward approaching these communities, you can't say, okay, so like a guy on a piece of wood, nails here, you know that the body is too heavy to support, right? So, like, number one, you're wrong. I don't do that anymore. You can't argue the logic of their beliefs that way, that strongly. You can make an appeal to them that is very well tailored by saying, you know, your kids in this neighborhood, all of them are failing in reading. All of them are failing in math. We need to do something to improve their lot. You know, Jesus said, you know, come unto me and have bread or fish and I'll teach you, or whatever it was. You know, but let's go and teach. Let's do that. That type of service-oriented thing. You know, if your brother is without and you have, you know, Allah says you must share. That's just right. Well, we have knowledge. What else do we have? We have knowledge. We might have finance, but you know, it's so easy to write a check. And for me, that is one issue that I think the secular movement overall. There are pockets that I'm accepting, but overall, they've done a bad job of approaching Christians and Muslims and saying, here's how we can work together. Let's serve in this way while wearing our shirts and our pants. Yeah, it is your turn.
Yeah, I think my question's similar. I work in education, really interested, and glad to hear you talk about kids need to learn to read and succeed in school and have a good life. One of the reasons I'm so excited about humanism is the idea that we're not relying on something that's not there to help us out, but we need to do the work ourselves to improve things, make things better. And you talked about everybody fighting these days politically and all. So how do we wear our shirts and get people to do the work without relying on things that aren't going to really help them, without putting up a fight, without having us be, oh, the atheists are talking again. Why don't they just quiet down and go to church like everybody else?
Yeah.
And how do we do it in a way, we're not trying to convert people to humanism, but do it in a positive, meaningful way that works out for everybody?
Yeah, we're not converting. I struggle with that. I really don't know what people are. Again, I speak to my somewhat pricklyish personality. I like to be a convincing person. One of the things I have asked is, when you're sick, where do you go? To church or a hospital? Well, if your God can do all things, why let a man do it? That's not very strong. Okay, yeah, God uses men. Okay. Your house is on fire. Jesus can do anything. No, I'm just asking. I mean, we're playing a logic game here. You know, that's not very strong faith that you can call the fire department. A cat's in a tree. Come, really? Jesus could, no? Well, okay, here's a website for you, young friend. Why, what is it? Why does God hate amputees? Isn't that? I'm not even making this up. I happen to be related to a congenital amputee who I love very deeply. I would love it if he could wake up healed one day. I think he's one of us. I think he's high. So, yeah.
The founder of the God Hates Amputees website from North Carolina, he ended up deciding that the website has gotten really contentious over the years. He's actually going to be visiting us here later in the semester to kind of check out what we're doing because he's interested in building community.
Here. I need to be here.
You need to move out here.
We're working on it.
Okay.
All right.
I want to be here, just so you know. I said, I got witnesses.
All right.
All right. Okay, Greg has to pick because I'm no good at this.
Well, we have time for like a couple more quick ones,
Okay,
and then I would like for you, if it's okay. I mean, I definitely want to get Ken in there because Ken has been thinking about this stuff for a long time. I'd like for you at the end, just if you have any more brief thoughts about how a community like ours might be more friendly, welcoming, etc. to women and people of color. You know, just as a final thought, but let me let you get to a couple more people, and you'll hang around and
oh yeah,
because we're not going to start our meditation group until 3:30. So if we don't get to everybody, then you'll hang around and take people's questions, right?
I'm here till Tuesday.
And by the way, and where can people find you? Like, do you want people to friend you on Facebook?
Friend me on Facebook because my patch is falling off my Facebook. Friend me on Facebook. I'm working on a website, and I'm an editor, which means unless you give me a deadline, I will keep working. So I have been.
We'll get it up there for you.
Yeah.
When it's ready. All right. So
yeah.
we want to do Ken, and then a couple.
Oh yeah.
And let's try to keep these last ones a little brief, just so that we have time to get maybe a couple more in.
Me too.
All right. So.
I don't have a question. It's thought because Greg is thinking about the religiosity of communities of color for a while. Growing up in one, lived in one, and one of the things that I see as the real issue is it's not sexy. The whole logic reason, the root of the problem is that people don't know how to think, don't know how to analyze critically. And that's not an attractive proposition. The more attractive proposition is that, and this is a belief that I have, that if you understand how things really work, you're a better agent to make your life more complicated. And for folks who are historically, in lower social economic rungs of the ladder, that might be a compelling sort of story. Oprah's name is brought up several times. Reg, my protege, Dr. Phil, who's doing this. How's that working for you? So you believe this guy is going to do everything, whatever. How's that working for you? Look at your neighborhood. Look at your bank account. How's that working for you? My proposition is that when you really understand how things work, and not how people wish they would work, how I would understand it. I would love to be able to, speak some words and have somebody, put money in my bank account. That would be great. And if it works, tell me. And I'm gonna beat you to the line, in front of the line. But I believe, based on what I see, that things work in different ways. My proposition would be that if you understand how things really work, you're in a better position to make
Very interesting.
I love it. I love it. If I could wave a magic wand, we would resurrect Mr. Wizard, Don Herbert. We would put him back on Nickelodeon and let every kid who comes home after school get excited about science and learn how things work. I would wave a magic wand. Oh, Neil is screaming. I'm not so stressed. Okay. If I could wave a magic wand, every kid would have to take argumentation for a year. A year. Preferably when they're in about 6th grade. Parents would not like this because their kids would go, BS, Mommy. But you know what? Here's how we can spend that. American children are nothing more than consumers. Let's teach them to be able to understand the messages that are given to them. Girls, you're ugly, you stink. Buy our deodorant, wear our lipstick, and then it'll be great. Guys, girls don't like you. You got to use our body spray and then drink our beer. Let's teach the kids to deconstruct that. What is it that they want from you? Huh? Who else, when you walk in there, do they say, you're not good enough. You need to listen to me. You need to hear and believe. We need money to do this. Yeah, consumer culture goes real deep with us.
All right, yeah, I mean, all we can do is stimulate a discussion. I mean, yeah,
I know,
it's 1:45, so we started an hour ago. So that means we do have, I think if, we'll do like, there might be some people that actually need to leave now, so if those of you who, are feeling any pressure to leave now want to do that, then that's fine because, we have a long day here at the Community Center. And then we'll just resume in 1 minute or 2 minutes, something like that. Is that cool? Great. Okay. So if you are going to take off now, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Again, look, as a nonprofit organization, we need money too. But what we're doing is, I gotta say, right. But you are good enough. And that's the thing. I would hope that the difference is not, that we can't have any structure, but the difference is that we're trying to figure out ways to build a community where we're supporting one another, as opposed to you looking up here. And in fact, we would like to get, one of the reasons, frankly, we'd like to have even more space next year is because right now we only have enough space to sort of, effectively have the model of everybody's looking up this way and up here is the sort of de facto authority. Whereas, if we had, a little more space, we'd actually like to turn it around to the point where, we're looking at one another, and we're helping one another because the model, although it works sometimes, of education, like where somebody's teaching something, the ultimate model that we want is where we're teaching one another. So with that being said, thank you so much for coming, and let's take a minute or two break, and then we'll resume.